today happens to be, according to the Gregorian calendar, George Washington's birthday. Yes, Bill's happy that I mentioned it. Okay. But from a Jewish perspective, there's something important about George Washington that sometimes gets lost. When he wrote his letter when he spoke at the Torah Synagogue, it was very interesting what he said. Newport, Rhode Island. But it was interesting because remember he was the president of this new nation, and he really had to bring the country together. Uh, you have to remember in those days, people were much more tied to their states. You had an interesting idea of equality among the citizens. Uh, so he had to figure out, how to do things, and he wanted to speak to the different religious sects that there were around. And remember, the United States had a lot of them. What he said to the Jews was very important, and it said something about the nature of this new country. Was that he didn't say we are here because we tolerate you. That's the way Jews are treated everywhere else in the world. At best, they were tolerated. But he said you are here because you have the right to be here. You have as much right to be here as I do, which was a major innovation in thinking at the time. This was the Constitution, when he became president, was under the Constitution, which specifically says that there'll be no religious test to hold federal office. This was a major innovation. People don't realize how major this was. What this meant, that theoretically a Jew could become president. A Jew could not become a leader in any other country in the world at the time. When the Vilna Gaon saw the Constitution, he read that particular part. He said, something's going on. This is way above. These guys might think that what they're doing is a continuation of things. This is a new break. This is something new is happening. So he looked at the creation of the Constitution, the adoption of the Constitution, as the beginning of the Geula, and he sent his top students to Eretz Israel to prepare the land for the Jewish sovereignty. And for those who are in the know, most of the early Zionist leaders actually were descended from those students of the Vilna Gaon. So he basically set in motion what eventually became Zionism. And he did it because of the American Constitution. And George Washington, of course, was the symbol, so to speak, of this new government. Something to think about